drove to the party. You parked the car. You sat there for 11 minutes. And then you drove home. And the whole way back, you felt relief. Not guilt. Not shame. Pure relief. If that's ever been you, this video is going to explain something about yourself that nobody ever told you. Because here's what your mom said. You need to get out more. Here's what your coworker said. You're so antisocial. Here's what your brain said. Finally, I can breathe. One of them was right, and it wasn't your mom. In 2023, MIT published research that quietly broke every assumption about introversion. They didn't study personality tests. They didn't ask people how they felt. They put electrodes on people's brains and watched what happened in real time, at parties, in crowds, alone at home. And what they found should have been on the front page of every newspaper in America. It wasn't. I'll tell you exactly what they found in 60 seconds, but first, you need to understand what's actually happening when you cancel plans. Because it's not what you think. America built a machine, and the machine has one job: make you feel like you're not enough unless you're visible. Post the dinner. Film the concert. Show up to the happy hour you hate. Because if you don't, the group chat goes quiet. And suddenly you're the problem. And it's working. The US Surgeon General declared loneliness a national epidemic in 2023. The same year Instagram hit 2 billion users. Think about that. We have never been more connected, and we have never felt more alone. So the machine isn't fixing loneliness. The machine is the loneliness, and the people who opted out. They figured that out before the rest of us. Your brain isn't broken. It's high performance. Here's the MIT finding. When introverts and highly sensitive people enter a loud social environment, a party, a bar, a crowded office, their brain doesn't just process the noise. It processes everything. Every conversation in the room, every facial expression, every shift in energy, every unspoken tension between people across the room they've never met. Their brain is running a program that most brains don't even have installed. The researchers called it deep processing. It's not a disorder. It's not anxiety. It's a nervous system that's operating at a higher resolution than average, and it costs more to run. You know how a high-performance laptop drains its battery in 2 hours, doing things a basic laptop can't even attempt? That's what's happening. When a homebody leaves your party early, they're not being rude. Their processor is at 97%. And here's the thing nobody tells you. That same processing power. That's what makes them extraordinary when they're in the right environment. The question is never, why do they need so much alone time? The question is, what are they building with it? Tell me in the comments. What's your number? How many minutes do you last at a party before you're ready to leave? I'll go first. 47 minutes. Never made it to an hour in my life. The skill. Nobody respects until they need it. I want you to think about the most fake conversation you've had this month. You know the one. How are you? Good. Busy. You know how it is. Totally same. Nobody learned anything. Nobody felt anything. Two humans technically exchanged words and it meant absolutely nothing. For most people, this registers as background noise. Fine. Whatever. Move on. For a homebody, this registers like nails on a chalkboard. Not because they're sensitive in the weak sense of the word, because their brain is too good at reading people to pretend that interaction meant something. Research from the University of Michigan found that people with high social sensitivity, which tracks almost perfectly with introversion, score dramatically higher on tests of emotional intelligence, deception detection, and the ability to form deep bonds. They're not bad at relationships. They're allergic to fake ones. And here's the part that should make extroverts uncomfortable. The Harvard study on adult development, 85 years of data, the longest happiness study ever conducted, found that the quality of your close relationships is the single biggest predictor of how long you live and how happy you are. Not your job, not your salary, not how many people showed up to your birthday, quality of connection. Homebodies aren't losing the social game. They're playing a completely different one, and their version has better odds. This is where you keep the skeptics. Now, I know exactly what half of you are thinking right now. Okay, but some people just use this as an excuse. Some people are just scared. You're right. And this is the part most videos skip because it's uncomfortable. There are two completely different types of people who stay home. Type 1 stays home because it genuinely recharges them. They're at peace. The silence feels like oxygen. They come out of it sharper, calmer, more themselves. Type 2 stays home and spends 3 hours on their phone, anxious, watching other people's stories, telling themselves they're fine. Type 1 is what this video is about. Type 2, and I say this with zero judgment because I've been there, is avoidance dressed up as preference. The difference isn't what you do when you stay home. It's how you feel when you do it. Relief is healthy. Relief mixed with guilt and a side of FOMO? That's a different conversation. Know which one you are. What your brain does. In the silence, this one changes everything. Here's the thing about doing nothing that neuroscience just confirmed. Your brain has a hidden mode. When you're not responding to the external world, no notifications, no conversations, no demands, your brain activates something called the default mode network, the DMN. And in the DMN, your brain does something it literally cannot do when you're socializing. It connects dots. It takes experiences from 6 months ago and links them to a problem you're having today. It processes emotions you've been suppressing. It generates ideas that have nowhere to come from consciously. That shower thought that solved your biggest work problem, that 3 a.m. realization that changed how you saw a relationship, the DMN. And here's what's critical. Constant social stimulation shuts the DMN off. Every happy hour, every group chat, every event you attended out of obligation, it kept your brain in reactive mode. You were always responding, never thinking. And Darwin had a daily solo walk he refused to cancel for anything. He called it his thinking path. Tesla spent days alone visualizing inventions before touching a single tool. Octavia Butler, one of the greatest writers in American history, was famously, fiercely protective of her solitude. These weren't people who couldn't handle the world. These were people who understood that the world gets their output. The silence was theirs. The quiet power move. Nobody notices. Here's something I've never heard anyone say out loud. The most psychologically free people I know share one trait. They don't need you to know they had a good weekend. They don't post it. They don't bring it up Monday morning. They don't need the validation loop of, oh, that sounds so fun, to confirm that it was real. They know. And that self-containment, that not needing external confirmation that your life is good. In 2026, that is radical. Because the entire attention economy is built on the opposite. It is engineered deliberately, expensively, with teams of the smartest people on Earth, to make you feel like your experiences don't count unless they're witnessed. And people who love being home quietly walked away from that deal. Not dramatically, not as a statement. They just stopped needing it. Psychologists call this internal locus of control. The belief that your life is directed by your own choices, not external feedback. It is one of the strongest predictors of mental health, resilience, and long-term success that psychology has ever measured. The homebody who turned down your invite. They might be the most psychologically healthy person in your contact list. Don't wrap it up. Break something open. I want to leave you with this. We live in a culture that rewards performance, not depth, not clarity, not the ability to sit alone with yourself and actually like what you find. Performance. And so we built a social world where the loudest, most visible, most everywhere person gets called successful. And the quiet one who reads on Friday nights and actually knows who they are gets called boring. But here's what nobody says at the eulogy. Nobody stands up and says, she came to every happy hour. Nobody says, he had 4,000 Instagram followers. They say, she really knew herself. They say, when he was with you, he was really with you. They say, she built something that lasted. That's the homebody's secret. They're not building for the audience, they're building for the life. And when you stop performing your existence, when you stop needing the crowd to confirm you're alive, something gets very quiet. And in that quiet, you finally hear the only voice that ever actually knew the answer. If this video found you at the right time, don't share it. Don't tag someone. Just sit with it for a minute. And if something in here felt like the first honest thing you've heard in a while, you already know what to do with that. Subscribe. Because the next video goes even deeper. And I think you're ready for it.